Kali Soul by Glimlip, Nokia, and Dow from Bubbles Extended Play 2021. This is Aurian Archive with a quick and disappointing update. No good way to say this. I broke my Zorloo. Apparently, either in a fit of clumsiness or a carelessness or a combination of both, I have actually fractured the plastic. That's, if I can find a good picture here, well, I actually went to a review. You can find a good end-on picture. There's one right there where you can see it. I've actually broken the plastic housing, and I suspect it was because of the adapter that I was using got caught on something I didn't notice, or uh, I'm just part of me is still kind of going, I did what? I've had this. I have been using this since Drop first listed them, and I'm actually I probably could look up how long ago that was. Uh, let's see, Drop, and I want the list of transactions completed, and the Zorloo. I have had the Zorloo since May 12th, 2020, so just over a year. Now, to be fair, I only spent $41 on it. So it was an inexpensive, very inexpensive amplifier. And uh, if we look up the Zorloo Super S Red on Zorloo.com is selling for $80. So I got it for half off, and so I'm kind of aggressively annoyed, and that I've really liked that amp. Uh, but it does not appear to be repairable. I do appear to have caused fatal damage to it. So it's already gone into the trash can. Now the question is, what do I replace it with, or do I replace it? And, Zorloo's got a couple other um, what am I looking at? The Ztella. If we go look at drop.com and MA Fuss, because I'm not actually logged in. Now it's got to be logged in. I can look for a specific product. Yeah, drop.com, DAC. And uh, actually, 1 second here. And we'll just. And I remember, oh yeah, I've got to turn some of my extensions off for this. And I gotta remember how to. Okay. That's annoying. Disable. Let's try this again. go. Okay. Deck. Okay. Right now, actually, the drop O2 plus SDAC is active. Um, and this is actually the amp that I use on my regular desktop on Ticked Off Southern Sledgehammer. The only reason why I would not buy this again is that it's still using a USB micro connection. It has not yet been upgraded to USB Type C, and what I'm really curious of is if Drop would upgrade this, upgrade to O2 plus SDAC to use a USB Type-C port, if they could drop the requirement for an external power supply. USB 3.1 and USB 3.2 or USB Type-C output should have enough power delivery to drive this amplifier without needing a separate power brick. So that again, that's the one reason why I would not buy another one is that at this point, it is showing its connectivity age. Uh, and let's see what else is currently active. Well, we have the SMSL at 220. That's a little rich for what I want to spend. You have the Zendak at 250. Again, that's also not really something that's portable. X Duo Pro Bluetooth DAC amp. This is a portable device at 140. This actually, could be an option. When we look at the back, it is USB Type-C, but it's also split. Still has separate charge and USB input port. So maybe not so great as a desktop amplifier as well. So go back and look. And kind of pass on that one. And let's just do amp. Just the amplifier. Let's try. Okay. DD Hi-Fi. And the other kind of, I think that's the one I'm looking for. Okay, yeah. And the other thing is that I've actually bought one of the DD Hi-Fi TC35 Pro DAC amps. I bought a Tetris one off of Drop. It has not shipped yet. And if you're wondering why, which is a good question, as much as I like the Zorloo, uh, it's let's see if I can find these specifications down here. Okay, sample rates. Here we are. The Zorloo topped out at I think at either 24-bit 192 or 24-bit 96K. I'd actually have to go back and watch the previous stream to see where it topped out before I broke it. The DD Hi-Fi has a much wider range of it does 32 bits and it does 30, and you can see here it'll do 32 bits past 38 4K, so it'll actually do better on paper with sampling rates than the NX4 that I have, and it'll do it in a format that's basically plug and go. Now, to be fair, the other reason why I had bought this particular is going back to I've mentioned before. I was contracted to build a computer for a client, and the case that I wound up using was the one of the BeQuiet cases, and I'm pretty sure it was either the dark base or the silent base. I think it was a dark base 700. Okay, yeah, pretty sure it was a dark base 700, and if we look at if I can get a close up at the top here. Can I get a close up? Okay, there's our close up. The case actually has a USB 3.1 Type C connector on top. And I kind of bought this DAC intending to. Uh, okay. The longer story here is that my media server currently is in a Nanoxia case. Nanoxia, and we'll look them up real quickly. And Nanoxia makes excellent soundproofing sound uh, cases, if I can find them. Okay, I want Nanoxia, and we'll do mid tower. That's not the one I'm looking for. Uh, I want Nanoxia deep silent. All right, there's still the deep silent fan, so Nanoxia deep silent 3 or deep silence 3. Now, this is what my media server is currently using. Now, the slight problem is that Nanoxia has, as just evidenced by going over here, they're not making the deep silent cases right now. And part of that is because they are in California and are thus subject to the socialist whims of the socialist dictator who calls himself the governor of California. I really like Nanoxia products. They're really good. I really like the Deep Silent, but I just can't get any more. And I settled across the BeQuiet dark base for my customer's computer because I couldn't get a Nanoxia. And after using the dark base 700 to build it it became the case that I wanted to get next. And my desktop computer, Ticked Off Southern Sledgehammer, is currently in a micro-atx case. Uh, this is Oh, gee, what are you? Not shuttle. Oh, not Soltech. I can't even remember who made this case. And that's pretty bad. What did I do with? Okay. Oh, Silverstone. Uh, for a while, I was using the or the Silverstone SG09, and then I sold the SG09 to somebody and replaced it with an SG10. And the very big problem is that a lot of vendors aren't making micro-atx motherboards. You can't get an AMD X570S, the silent die shrunk version of the X570, in a micro-atx format board. You can only get the B550 in a micro-atx board, and most of the B550 micro-atx boards are not very well designed. And occasionally I throw up a picture that is an edit on a DFI LAN Party 920 from I don't know how long ago. It was literally the very first motherboard that shipped in micro-ATX format with Crossfire and SLI support. So the first micro-ATX motherboard with two PCIe X16 slots. And I occasionally throw up a modified version of that picture. Actually, give me a second and I will see if I've actually got that picture available to look at because I've thrown it up on Twitter a number of times. And one moment while I go. Pictures. Snap, snap. Uh, Maybe it's in here. Yeah. Live. Doing things on the fly. Alright, still looking. Where else would I have put it? No, I wouldn't put it there. Okay, I must have. No, I think I just saw it. No, really should have just made a build count. Oh, there it is. Okay. Okay, plus image. Yeah, it's in pictures. Okay, here we go. There is the DFI Lamparty Jr. And this was from however long ago. You can look and you go, well, it's got a North Bridge and a South Bridge. Obviously, it's an Intel X58. And what I don't understand, and I really don't understand, is when you look at how this board is laid out and you compare it to a modern micro-ATX motherboard, I really find myself asking some questions. And this was the atrociously bad mock-up that I did based on the DFI board. In this case, we've zeroed out the North Bridge, zeroed out the South Bridge, zeroed out the mid PCI one slot, and we have two PCI 16 connectors, two M.2 serial ATA PCI slots, and nothing else has really changed. At, again, over here on the left is a motherboard that actually exists. I mean, DFI actually made this. How it was made is not unknown. I really don't understand with why not drop the PCI, drop the PCI 3, put the serial ATAs, and you look at most motherboards today, they now put the either serial ATA slot where the North Bridge would be, or uh, it's sort of like it's not that hard to design a micro ATX motherboard. Intel and DFI made this work years ago. Why can't motherboard manufacturers make it work now? Okay, fair point that a lot of motherboards have to make space. 3 slots for the current graphics cards. Case in point, the GeForce 1660 Ti has a 3 slot cooler, and so it has a short card instead of a longer card with a longer cooler and a heftier heatsink. But it's sort of like you did this this has already been shown to be how this is how you can lay a motherboard out. Why can't vendors lay micro ATX motherboards out like this? Seriously, I really would like an answer to that question. And every time I bring this up to vendors directly, they just kind of tilt their eyes and look away. They don't exactly have an answer because there isn't one. They can do it, they just don't want to because it means less. I get it. If they don't do the kind of motherboard that consumers actually want to buy for home theater PC systems and the vast array of micro ATX oriented chassis that are already existing out there, then you have to buy a new computer or a new chassis and a new motherboard to get the features that you want. Simply by not filling a product demand, they theoretically push people into the products that they can sell for whatever they want to charge. And personally, that's kind of rotten because it means that somebody, and this is really how ASRock came out of nowhere to be one of the biggest names in the motherboard business. That ASRock kept making the motherboards that nobody else would. ASRock would make a micro-ATX board when no other vendor would. And I've had a bunch of ASRock motherboards come through here. I've never had a problem with a single one. They may not overclock as fast as an Asus. They may uh, not have the RGB lighting of a Gigabyte Aorus, but they've always worked perfectly well and did exactly what they were supposed to do. So, anyways, so the thing is to upgrade ticked off Southern Sledgehammer. I probably am going to have to change the motherboard out. I can't get the features that I want in a micro ATX format. Now, strangely, I can get some of those features in an ITX format, which is even smaller motherboard, where I can get like dual socket M.2, uh, and I can get some other features, say Wi-Fi built in. I can get those on some ITX versions, and technically, yes, I probably could make an ITX board fit inside this chassis. Uh, and then kind of comes around to, well, now that I've worked with a BeQuiet Dark case, I think it's actually a little bit better designed and a little easier to work with than the Nanoxia that I have. And it's definitely a lot easier to work with than the Silverstone SG10. It's a lot easier to work with. And when it comes down to having something that's, sitting that I expect to work for a few years on end, I'm kind of at the point where, yeah, I should probably go ahead and just move the SG10 out, and just go and replace it. So if I'm doing that, then, going to this new motherboard. So that's kind of coming back to, I was looking at this amp going, it could work, I could make it work. I can just do for the Nanoxia, I could just do an adapter and run it off the top. So, anyways, I do have that on the way. I don't have it yet, so that's why it hasn't featured yet in the current audio discussions. Uh, and also, I don't know when it's going to arrive. It was supposed to have arrived like last month, and it still hasn't gotten here. So, uh, I just don't have it. I'm still just annoyed about the about me being the one to break the Zorloo, and do I replace it? Do I not replace it? Uh and I guess I'll try and cut it off here. Been another hybrid theory.